Hello and welcome to this special broadcast of Medicine Box. Today we put focus on the hospital sector. This sector has seen a rise in M&A activity this season. Ekta is here standing by the big wall to take us through the latest deals that took place in the hospital sector and the rationale for the surge in valuations. Ekta.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, the hospital sector is abuzz with deals, from Singapore PE fund Temasek becoming the majority stakeholders in Manipal Hospitals after buying an additional 41% stake for around 16,400 crores, to smaller deals such as Fortis picking up a 350-bed hospital near Delhi for around 225 crores. Other deals in the offing could be Abhay Soy-promoted Max Healthcare picking up TPG-run Care Hospitals. An Economic Times report is pegging valuations for the deal at anywhere between 5,500 to 6,500 crores. Other deals in the offing include Manipal itself buying the hospital chain of Imami Group AMRI for around 2,400 crores and picking up Kerala-based private hospital chain KIMS for around 3,500 to 4,000 crores. Acquisitions are done for various reasons, from increasing the geographic presence to accessing pan-India multi-speciality bed capacities quickly. For example, Fortis, with the acquisition of Medeor Hospitals, will be propelling to become the second largest hospital with bed capacity in Gurugram. It will fulfill its strategic approach of expanding in the Delhi NCR geographic cluster. On the other hand, Manipal could surpass Apollo Hospitals by increasing their bed capacity to over 10,000 beds in case the said acquisitions go through. And Max, which has over 3,400 bed capacity, will access 2,400 beds from Care Hospitals, helping it achieve targets of increasing its bed capacity by over 2x in the next 3 to 4 years. The common thread amongst all these acquisitions is cashing in on the structural growth drivers, hence many are ready to pay top dollar for these acquisitions. Valuations for the hospital space have risen as much as 8x in the past 5 years, with deals such as Manipal Temasek done at 10 times MCAP to sales, which is a premium of 5 to 6 times versus peers. These structural growth drivers include increased health awareness and insurance penetration post-COVID-19 and increased inflow from international patients as India positions itself as a medical tourism hub. All this will help aid the operations of the hospitals. For example, average occupancies in the hospital space are expected to go from the current range of 65 to 69% to over 75%. Average occupied bed rates could rise by around 10%. As far as medical tourism goes, it has risen 30% from 2014 to 2019, with currently many of the large hospital chains seeing business revert back to pre-COVID-19 levels. Estimates are the number of medical tourists could rise to 3 million by 2030. Lastly, why acquire? Today, building a hospital requires a capex of around 1 to 1.2 crores per bed over and above land acquisition costs and other costs, resulting in a time frame of up to 3 to 4 years to even come on stream. Acquisitions are cheaper and more cost-effective. Acquisitions, hospital owners and analysts say, is cash accretive from day one due to the immediate and fast without capital to invest and build. All this hence aiding cash management and possibly even justifying the valuations. In fact, we have with us Viren Shetty, who is the Executive Director and Group COO of Narayana Health, and we have with us Dr. Ballal of Manipal Hospitals joining in now to discuss all of the M&A activity. Gentlemen, welcome to this discussion. Dr. Ballal, I'm going to start this discussion with you, considering that Manipal has really been in the news in the past couple of weeks. Give us the reason why Temasek was so interested in Manipal. What was the reason for the acquisition and the kind of premium that you all also got?
Good afternoon, Ekta. Thank you for having me here. Good afternoon, Viren. I think we are in a very exciting period. M&A seems to be the flavor of the season. Temasek is not new to us. They have been our shareholders for quite some time. They have been on the board too for the last 6 or 7 years. And they have seen the practice of medicine grow significantly in the Manipal sector. And they are very, very comfortable with what Manipal is. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons that they've invested in healthcare. in addition to the belief that healthcare is sort of going to surge ahead, and the setback that was there during COVID, I think we have overcome that. And we are looking forward to a very healthy growth in the future. I think our familiarity, our culture, and the future growth of healthcare is what Temasek saw in us.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, Viren Shetty is also with us. He's the Group CEO of Narayana Health. Viren, do you see a lot more deals in the pipeline now? I mean, there's clearly a lot of interest in this space. And as Ekta was pointing out, perhaps valuations are also looking good. Assets are there for the asking. What is your own view on what the size and scope of these deals could be in future as well?
There are a lot more deals that will come about. And as you said, the valuations are looking good for the seller. For the buyers, of course, these things tend to be quite expensive. But I guess institutions like KKR, Temasek, Carlyle have all done their homework, and they figured that there's a lot of opportunity to make back the returns from how much they're investing in making these expensive acquisitions.
Right. Recently I put out a piece comparing hotels with hospitals in the sense that both their businesses are similar, where you have to obviously put up a facility and thereafter you earn off occupancies, with the obvious difference being that hotels is cyclical, whereas hospitals is a lot more structural. Dr. Ballal, I just wanted to understand your thoughts on, have we moved up in the structure of return ratios and businesses for hospitals, from a business standpoint over the next 5 to 6 years?
I agree with you. I think there's a lot of advantages of acquiring the chains of hospitals rather than greenfield projects, which take a very long time to start making money. So there's a significant advantage of acquiring large-scale hospitals. And what we have seen is a steady growth of at least 10 to 15%. And we should actually look at the growth from 2019 onwards, because 2020, 21, 22 were retarded growths due to the COVID pandemic. But certainly all of us are growing at a healthy level, and we do believe our occupancies will go from 60 to 65% to about 70 to 75% in the future. And I think acquiring hospitals is probably the better way of doing business. However, we are also looking at many greenfield projects, mostly in the places that we are already well established.
Okay. Viren, I just wanted to understand the premiums. For example, the Manipal Temasek deal was done at some of the heftiest premiums that we've seen in the hospital space, at around 10 times MCAP to sales. And if you compare it to its peers, the peers are still at anywhere between 4 to 6 times. Based on this expensive deal that's taken place, do you expect the valuations to become more expensive for further deals going forward?
Well, to be fair, that Manipal is a phenomenal hospital group, and it is a marquee brand in their key hospital. So it may not be shared by hospitals that aren't of the same caliber, but for hospitals that are, I would guess it would drive up the valuations, yes.
Okay. Just on that point, Viren, are there any distressed assets within the hospital space which are for easy pickings at this point? Because one of the trends that took place post COVID-19 was that the stronger players managed to emerge, and maybe the smaller hospital companies couldn't cope. So is that a type of trend which is also taking place?
Well, hospitals have been distressed even before COVID-19, and for multiple reasons. But the reasons these hospitals end up being distressed does not go away just because you get a much larger parent to take it over. Sometimes it could be location, sometimes it could be just spending too much on a building, sometimes it could be all kinds of regulatory issues. None of that goes away. And anyone that's looking to make a cheap acquisition of a distressed asset will end up inheriting a lot of the headache that came with the reason that hospital was distressed. So it's not always cheaper in that sense or easier. It's just a question of how much time and money you're willing to commit in the pursuit of growing a large network full of beds.
I want to go to Dr. Ballal, but before that, Viren, at the end of the day, for someone who's watching our show, right, What matters is in the hospital space, if occupancies are rising, if medical tourism is back in a big way. And I'm sure, the M&A guys, the PE guys who are investing are expecting these trends to improve, and hence the future looks good as well. But you tell us, what are the numbers right now? Have occupancy levels risen? Has medical tourism come back in a big way? And what do you see as the way forward, say, over the next 12 to 18 months?
It's always hard to project how things work out in this sector. The fact is, there was a huge lag during the COVID time, and people were not getting elective surgeries done, which has bounced back. And with increase in general awareness about your healthcare, so a lot of people have realized that they need to get checkups done, they need to start taking care of their health more, and that ends up with them being active consumers of healthcare. But still, there is tremendous room to grow, because as a country and as a people, Indians are the least likely to seek medication, the least likely to access healthcare, have some of the worst health outcomes for people of the similar genetic disposition. And it just means that there is a large market for people who need to access healthcare that there is their right to. So regardless of the international expansion, regardless of how you look at it, people do need more healthcare, and hospitals are here to provide that so that they can live long, healthy and productive lives.
Right. People do need more healthcare. We've learned that during the pandemic more than ever before. But Dr. Ballal, I just wanted to understand a couple of things from you. One is that is there enough supply of quality talent in the hospital's business? While, it's easy for everyone to go ahead, acquire companies, pay top dollar, acquire or build facilities so that there is enough infrastructure. But the soft skills of surgeons and good quality doctors, is there enough in the supply pipeline for the same? And secondly, where exactly does your deal with Imami stand at right now with regards to AMRI? Is everything done?
To answer your first question, Beth, I fully agree with you. I think hospitals are not just brick and mortar buildings and CT scans and MRI, PET scans, etc. It's really the human resources that make a hospital what it is. In the cities, it's certainly not a big problem of getting talent, because most of the qualified doctors, specialists tend to sort of gravitate towards the cities. And by and large, in the cities, we haven't had much of a problem. And so far, most of our hospitals have been in the tier 1 cities, except our teaching hospitals, where it's a different ballgame altogether. So far, we haven't had too much of a problem acquiring talent because of where we are located. And also, most of them are about 250 to 300 bedded tertiary quaternary care hospitals. But it may be a problem in the future, because what we see is more than shortage of doctors, it's an inequitable distribution of talent. You go to a place 100 miles away from Bangalore, it may be very difficult to get a good surgeon, certainly very difficult to get a good transplant surgeon or a cardiac surgeon. So I think so far the problem has been manageable. And also we have the synergy of having a large number of hospitals, at least in some of our locations like Bangalore. The second is, you asked me about Imami. I would not comment on anything more, saying that we are in the advanced stages of negotiation, and hopefully you will know very soon.
Okay, well, that is definitely some of the statistics that we do need to improve, the doctor-patient ratio, the nurse-patient ratio across India. But I'm going to request Dr. Ballal as well as Viren to stay on. We need to take a short break, but we'll be back with more questions on M&A activity in the hospital space. Stay tuned.